Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. I am the host, Alex Naveja, and if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to another edition of Sideline Sports Podcast. I am the host, Alex Naveja, and today we have some great guests coming along with us all the way from Oakland, New Jersey. Some friends that I met over in the winter meetings. First, co-host of the G&T Talk, Julian, Guilarte, along with Bobby Thompson. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing good. How about you? As good as we can
good.
during all this.
Everything's
What's
doing
going on,
great.
brother? How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Again, just to start off, thank you so much for being on the show. And you know what? So we got a lot to talk about. Before we get into business, this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Lean Mean Meals. Make sure to get your meal prep done with Mish Dominguez today. He has you with your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. He even has detox juices along with cold brew coffee. Make sure to put my promo code SIDELINE10 in the description below, along with his website. You can save yourself 10% on the promo code. Make sure to get the meal prep done with Mish and Lean Mean Meals. And of course, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Gentlemen, let's get straight to the business. Last week, it was the 2020 NFL Draft. And of course, because of COVID-19, there had to be a virtual NFL draft, and not exactly the draft that we're all accustomed to and very normal. But you know what? You guys have the G&T Talk Podcast going on over there in the East Coast, and you guys actually went all out making your own draft going on. We'd love to hear all about how that setup went.
You want to start, Jules?
No, brother, this is all you.
Okay, I'll start it off. So, Julian and I, last year, when we started this together, we had a plan. We went to Atlantic City, down the shore here in New Jersey, and went to a hotel. We did our show in the hotel, and we only did up to, I think it was 15 picks, I believe.
It was like right in the area of like 12 to 15.
Yeah. So we did that, and after that, this year our plan was to do the same thing, but in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Due to COVID-19, unfortunately, we could not do that. So Julian and I were faced with the dilemma what to do. And Julian and I, as creative minds as we are together, we decided to come up with a solution. In my house, we turned my brother's bedroom into our studio.
Yep.
And got a beautiful backdrop by Legends Media. Our friend Elijah did a tremendous job and set it up there, got our table ready, got the microphones ready. We had 4 cameras, our laptops, our cell phones, Instagram Live, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything. And we had a plan. The notes that Julian and I took were second to none. It took days to prepare. And this virtual draft, we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, but we did it. It was a long night. We worked very, very hard, and that's what we did. You know, it was a long. The first round of the draft is always long, and the one thing that I think Julian and I could agree on this is that the one thing we were nervous about was that if a player was picked we didn't know about, and it happened. We tried to prepare as best as possible, and it happened. So
it was the Seahawks.
Yep, it was the Seahawks pick with Brooks and
the linebacker.
Yeah.
We didn't see that one coming.
No, we did not. And you know, man, it was really, really. It was a fun night. It was a very, very long night. Julian and I worked tirelessly. Thank God the next day we didn't have work that day because we were exhausted. But it was just a step in the right direction for us. The NFL draft is a huge thing for us last year. If you watch how we did it, we did Facebook Live. We didn't have that much with us. We were spitballing it this year. We were more prepared. And going forward,
amateur hour.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. But Julian and I came up with a plan together, and we just executed it, man.
Wow, I mean, you guys had a full-on setup. It looked really nice. I'll make sure to put the link to that episode on their YouTube channel down in the description down below. But, I mean, you guys did a phenomenal job, and I really have to tip my cap over to you guys for doing that excellent job.
Thank you, man. We appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and it was definitely a great experience. It literally took 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Yep.
That's how long we were on the set for. That's how long the videos were. It was really something. I was nervous because we never done anything this long before. Like last year, we only did 2 hours. This year, I was like, oh man, we're going to do the whole thing. I'm like, I know we can do it, but it's going to be interesting because we've never done anything for that long before. And we took breaks here and there. We switched on and off, like for the bathroom, because yes, we are human. There were no commercials on our show, so we did it live, straight up at the mic. We were looking at the text, so there was no volume on either. There was no volume or subtitles helping us out. We were literally just looking at the TV, and our stream was also behind, which was a huge problem. It was like 30 to 40 seconds behind most people. So that was something else. We were out to the picks. Everyone already knew who was getting picked, so that was a disaster. But what can you do about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it still turned out very well, gentlemen. You guys did a great job, and I tip my cap to you guys. Now, let's talk a little bit about these draft picks that some of these NFL teams made. I mean, let's start right off the top with Joe Burrow, of course, being picked up by the Cincinnati Bengals. We all guessed that. I think everyone knew that one. That one was a given. But now, what kind of career do you guys think that Joe Burrow will have? We could start off with Bobby first.
Well, Joe Burrow obviously was always going to be the first-round pick. After transferring from Ohio State, going to LSU, his career skyrocketed. He fit well. The offensive weapons he had were second to none with Thaddeus Moss, Jamar Chase, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Justin Jefferson. And the guy's a baller. He does things that a lot of quarterbacks can't do. He's very mobile, very accurate, got a very strong arm, very smart, doesn't turn the ball over. Only had 11 interceptions in his 2 years at LSU.
Wow.
But he's going to a Bengals team that has A.J. Green coming back from not playing last year due to injury. But the problem with that is that he's not happy. He does not want to be a Bengal. And obviously, he's been there for a long time. He's had personal success, team success, not so much. He's got Tyler Boyd. He's got Joe Mixon. He's got so many weapons for that Bengals team. And now T. Higgins, a guy who he played against in the championship game, this offense is tremendous. And T. Higgins is an A.J. Green clone. He's going into an offense where he could be extremely successful, a lot of playmakers. They bolstered up the offensive line. The only question I have with the Bengals is their defense. I think they need to do a little bit more on defense. They lost a few pieces. But in terms of Joe Burrow, I personally think he's going to have – he could change that team around. He really can. And you know what? Zach Taylor as the head coach, second year, he got that job right away because he had – and as Julian said this, and Julian will laugh when I say this, he had a cup of coffee with McVay, and he got a head coaching job. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Bengals. Now they don't have Dalton anymore. Dalton's gone. Now it's the Joe Burrow era for Cincinnati, and let's see if he can get over the hump. I think he adds them 4 or 5 more wins to their total.
Well, my next question was actually going to be, how far do you think Joe Burrow would even carry this team? I mean, you said 5 more wins. Do you think that's enough to even get them at the top of the division, or even squeezing them into a wild card spot?
I could see them getting into a wild card spot. I think in the beginning it's going to be a little bit shaky. He's a rookie quarterback, and we'll see how he plays. A rookie when Dan Marino was the rookie quarterback, he took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to say he could do that. I think that he has potential. I think he can make them a wild card team within time. I'm going to say this year not so much. I'll be surprised if they make the playoffs. You know, the playoffs expanded by one more team each, 14 teams now. So we'll see. I think that I think next year he can really make that team successful. I really do. I think 2020 is going to be a developmental year for him, get him comfortable, and then 2021 is when you really see Joe Burrow go off. Same thing like when he was in college. When he transferred from Ohio State to LSU, in his first year he was good, but the second year you saw what he did. He just took off after year 2 of learning a new system. He's learning a new system now. Get familiar with everything. I think 2021 is when you could see that team really be successful.
We'll look forward to that 2021 year then. Now, here's going to be a fun question. I know Bobby is dying to answer this question now. So, we'll start off with Julian first, and then we'll allow Bobby. Where is Andy Dalton going to end up? There's already buzz and rumor. Maybe potentially he ends up as a New England Patriot. Julian, what's the future of Andy Dalton?
Okay, I actually do think he'll end up with the Patriots, but I also want to say something quick about Burrow. Like, I'll be light and quick. I think the Bengals will be 7-9 with him this year. I see him helping, kind of like Bobby said, maybe 4 or 5 wins somewhere. But I don't think they have enough yet. I don't think they'll be ready. The team will be too young. Overall, I think Burrow could be like a top 10 guy maybe going forward. I see him like as a Pennington, Alex Smith, like Ryan Tannehill type, as more of a like elite quarterback, I guess. But I still think he'll be good.
All right, Bobby.
Absolutely.
Let's hear it. What are you thinking?
So with Andy Dalton, there's only 2 teams interested in his services right now, and that's the Jacksonville Jaguars and the New England Patriots. Now, here's the thing with the Jaguars. The Jaguars have Gardner Minshew. They traded away Nick Foles. They are really high on Gardner Minshew. And basically what it would be is them signing Andy Dalton is basically showing me that they don't have faith in Gardner Minshew. In my opinion, I don't think that's a smart thing to do because next year, I think we all could agree the Jacksonville Jaguars are tanking for Trevor Lawrence. That's what they're going to do. That's to find their future quarterback. The Patriots, here's the thing. We just lost Tom Brady to go to Tampa Bay, and it kills me to say this. And we're looking for our future. Now, Andy Dalton I believe he's in his 30s, I believe. So the thing is, we're high on Jarrett Stidham and Brian Hoyer. Now, I went on record saying this, and I'll say this real quick, and Julian knows this. I'm moving to Florida in August. If Brian Hoyer is the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots week 1 this year, and mark my words, I will dive head first into the Tampa Bay. So that can't happen. Now with me, I think if they sign Andy Dalton, they sign him to push Jarrett Stidham. It's going to be a quarterback battle regardless. So in my opinion, if Andy Dalton signs, he's the starting quarterback. There's no way to start Stidham over Dalton unless Dalton starts to be primetime Andy Dalton, the red rifle, turning the ball over and all that. So with me, I think he ends up with the New England Patriots, and as a diehard Patriots fan, I don't want to see that happen. I'll ride with Stidham.
Dalton's 32. I got his stuff up right here.
He's 32. Okay.
So
last year he had 16 touchdowns and 14 picks. In case you guys are wondering, completed 59% of his passes. That was 2-11 at the started.
Oh God.
Well, we can only hope that maybe Bill Belichick can help out with Andy Dalton if he does end up as a New England Patriot. Now, another quarterback that all of us were thinking was going to be picked up by the Patriots, Jordan Love, ended up going with the Green Bay Packers. A little bit of a head-scratcher right there. Now, there has to be a little bit of awkwardness between the organization and Aaron Rodgers right there.
Oh, yeah. We hated this move for the Packers. Well, this made no sense. And they don't help the team get better. That was just 13-3. And needs to improve against the 49ers, obviously, because they got manhandled by them twice. You don't get a receiver or linebacker. Then they drafted a running back in the second round. It was a bad draft for the Packers. Me and Bobby hated it. I think it was the first draft out of anyone.
I agree 100%. The Jordan Love pick, they trade up to go and get it. It just made no sense. And to me, your future is Aaron Rodgers. We get it. He's 36 years old. He's getting older. But to me, I don't see any signs of slowing him down. They need playmakers. Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams can't do it. You're not going to go far. That's why they did not beat the San Francisco 49ers in the championship game. Because Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones can't do it by themselves. Lazard is not the guy at your second wide. When your wide receiver 2 is Lazard, you got a problem.
And then Allison, whenever all the other scrubs too.
Exactly. And then they had Jimmy Graham, who was a shell of himself, who's now with Chicago. But it's just, you know what, Alex, it made no sense. And to me, it was a big slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is angry. And he talked to Brett Favre, and Brett Favre went on record saying that Aaron Rodgers will play elsewhere. They burned their bridge with him. And I read a report today from Matt Miller that this move showed Aaron Rodgers that they make the rules, not him. Apparently, I heard Matt LaFleur is tired of Aaron Rodgers' act. You know how he is. He's very standoffish. He's very difficult to work with. And they found their future quarterback. That's what they were looking for. And to me, I consider it a slap in the face to Aaron Rodgers for everything he's done. His offensive line has been abysmal his entire career. He won you a Super Bowl in 2010. You have given him no help in the past couple of years except Devontae Adams. And they found the diamond in the rough with Aaron Jones, who's tremendous. So, in my opinion, they should have drafted a guy like T. Higgins. Get a receiver, and then you draft a running back. Why? Why are you drafting a running back when you have 2 great running backs? Made no sense to me. Julian said it well. We gave the Packers the worst draft. We both gave them a D. It just made no sense.
Yeah, it's a little bit confusing right there when, Aaron Rodgers looked like he was going to be that franchise player, and he's already carried them to a Super Bowl championship already before. He carries them to the playoffs in a very consistent basis, I would say, but a little confusing there. Now, here's another little bit of a confusing even draft pick. We go to the Philadelphia Eagles, and now they draft a quarterback as well, where they have already a talented quarterback in Carson Wentz. They go with Jalen Hurts. Now, explain to me that one, fellas.
This one was head-scratching as well. I was thinking Greenwood's the team. For the fact that anyways the first, I guess, and they're going to try to use Hurts as like a face-to-field type guy, but I'm not sure why you would draft one in the second round to throw that ball. I get to worry about Wentz being injured too, and they want a reliable backup, but they don't even know if he would be ready to be a backup next year. Like, how are they going to know?
And with that, and with this, and Julian is absolutely right, they drafted Jalen Hurts. They have plans for him to be like a Taysom Hill type of player and use his athleticism. Now, with this pick, it was head-scratching and they did this pick. I read this. They took this pick because they whiffed on Russell Wilson in 2012. They wanted Russell Wilson, and they made the mistake not picking him. And they feel that Jalen Hurts is a Russell Wilson type of player. Now, I'm not comparing him to Russell Wilson. He's got to show me a lot more. Russell Wilson's one of the best quarterbacks in football, Super Bowl winning quarterback. So with Jalen Hurts, they drafted him in the second round high for his athleticism. And the question is, because Carson Wentz gets injured, he's had some injury concerns. Last year he played very poorly, but also due to the offensive line being injured and the weapons around him just failing him, other than the name Zach Ertz. So with this is the move to ensure that if Carson Wentz gets hurt, they're covered with somebody who's athletic and who can throw the ball, and Jalen Hurts provides that with that type of service.
Very good point there, Bobby. Always nice to have that secondary quarterback, and especially having that young blood and a very talented quarterback in Carson Wentz to be able to show the footsteps and show the ropes to a very youngster there. Now let's talk about another quarterback over here in LA being drafted by the Los Angeles Chargers in Justin Herbert. Now this is a big Pac-12 quarterback that has a lot of talent and is filling in for some big shoes for Phillip Rivers. Now I see Herbert having a very bright future and doing a great job being able to replace Phillip Rivers in his coming career. What are your guys' thoughts on that pickup for the Chargers?
All right, so I've been saying Justin Herbert to the Chargers for about 3 months. Every month I said Herbert 6, Herbert 6, Herbert 6. Some people were trying to dispute the fact they might go quarterback, but I knew they need to go quarterback. Like when Tyrod Taylor is your starter, he's not really your starter. Tyrod in the stopgap. And Herbert's going to beat him out, obviously, for something else we're seeing, or he just can't pick up the offense, maybe. Which is a whole other problem with this COVID and how they're going to have to learn new offenses virtually. But Herbert was great at working. Last year, he had 32 touchdowns and 6 picks, almost 3,500 yards. Completed 67% of his passes. It's faster than you think, also. I believe we only ran for 50 yards last year, but he has deceptive speed. So he'll be a nice dual threat. He'll be able to buy some extra time. It'll be a nice change for the Chargers because Phillip Rivers was so stationary. He has one of the weapons to speed. So they just have to protect him, and I think one of his weaknesses is reading the full field. So they're going to need to make sure he's upright.
Very well said, Jules. Very well said. I agree. Look at the team that Justin Herbert just went to. And look at this offense he goes to. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. They lose Melvin Gordon, who signed a 2-year deal with the Denver Broncos. But the offensive line got an upgrade with Trey Turner. And this offense is second to none. And this defense that the Chargers have is elite. So he's going to a team that's going to make him successful. Now, I agree with Julian. Herbert, too. Now, with my final mock draft, I thought that the Dolphins were going to pick Herbert, but I also felt that Herbert could end up with the Chargers as well. So he's going to a perfect situation. Anthony Lynn's a great coach. He's going to make him a great player. What does Justin Herbert bring to the table for the Los Angeles Chargers? Something that Phillip Rivers did not give you. Mobility. Keeping the play alive. He's faster. He's not just stand in the pocket guy. He can kill you multiple ways. In a way, Phillip Rivers was one-dimensional for so long, but he was successful. And I agree, Alex, he does have big shoes to fill for Phillip Rivers. I'm not going to disrespect Phillip Rivers. He's had a tremendous career with the Chargers. Just never got over the hump to make him to the Super Bowl. But I will tell you this, Justin Herbert was the right pick. The Chargers now have a young quarterback. This is their future. They have the offense. And I'm just going to tell you, this team's going to be exciting. It really is. And Justin Herbert, here's the thing. I agree. What I said about Joe Burrow with 2020 being a developmental year.
It's definitely a great time to be a Los Angeles Chargers fan right now, getting a new quarterback that has a lot of talent, along with getting a new stadium, the SoFi Stadium over here in Inglewood, California. But we're going to take a quick break here in Sideline Sports Podcast. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about baseball. I know Julian right now is dying to talk a little baseball right now, so we'll break it all down for you in this upcoming segment of Sideline Sports Podcast, where if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast.
This is Hector Aguayo, the long snapper for the Santa Ana Dons, and you're watching Sideline Sports Podcast.
Welcome back to Sideline Sports Podcast, presented by Lean Mean Meals. I'm Alex Naveca, the host, and with me again today is Julian Guilarte, along with Bobby Thompson, co-host of the G&T Talk Podcast from Oakland, New Jersey. And of course, guys, pleasure to have you guys, but let's go straight into the action with Major League Baseball. They're already proposing that in July 2nd that they want to have Major League Baseball to be starting in July 2nd, and they're still trying to figure out the kinks as to where all these teams are going to be playing in, and still trying to figure some details out. And before we even get into it, they've even unleashed what each division is going to entail as far as the West, the Central, and the East. And it looks like it's a mix of both AL and NL teams to be able to reduce travel. What are your guys' thoughts right now as far as this proposal and, of course, of these divisions?
All right, so just a quick story for everyone before we get to it. I met Alex at the Winter Meeting last year. It was the first day down there, I believe. It was a fun day. It was a long day. Not that much because of travel. Me and Bobby ended up popping in at like 1:30 there. It was like 1:30 our time, like 10:30 their time. It was very clear what time we got there. Our clocks were all up the store, so I was so beat after the first day. I'm like, I just need to get the beer and then go back to the room. And then I see Alex, Dominic, and then there was there's two other people. One of them I can't remember, and then one of them was Joel. But then you guys were sitting down, we had a row, we talked a little bit, and I ended up talking to you the rest of the other days, and we ended up chilling in LA when I go up there that Friday night. So Alex, it was great. I want to say it's been a great experience meeting and everything, and we're really happy to be doing this podcast. So we can get back to the talk now. So you want to know our opinion on the three formats?
Of course, I want to hear all about what you're thinking about this new format. Of course, because of what's going on with COVID-19, you're not exactly going to see maybe West Coast taking on an East Coast team. It's going to be a reduce of travel. So I definitely want to hear what you guys' thoughts as far as this new format that Major League Baseball has.
Okay, so I've been looking at a lot of this stuff. Obviously, at all the time in the world, and I've been thinking of all this, like trying to see what the best way back is and how we're going to get back. And the last 2 days have been encouraging. I like the three-format theory. Honestly, we just want baseball at this point, even if it's without the fans. I think it would be exciting to see the East, West, and Central for a year, and you don't have any leagues. I would do universal DH. I want to get 100 games, hopefully, cut the All-Star break, expand the rosters, get started late June, early July, extend to October, neutral site, World Series for the November playoffs. That's what I'm thinking.
I agree 100%. In my opinion, if you're not going to play 100 games, I don't think you should play at all. That's my personal opinion. I feel like baseball needs to be at least 100 games. Give us that. Everything with the 3 places to play, I agree 100%. Anything to get baseball back, just please give us 100 games. Anything to get baseball. It's weird. This is just weird nowadays, not having baseball. Right now, tomorrow is May 1st. It's crazy. We would already be 31 games in. It's crazy that due to the circumstances it was taken away from us. And if it could come back, the World Series playing at a neutral site, I agree 100%. But the one thing with me is I'm an advocate for 100 games or no games, in my opinion.
Well, I actually like that idea, Bobby, as far as the 100 games goes. I mean, however you got to get it done, I think Major League Baseball needs to implement that as well. I don't think 80 games is enough to really have a full baseball season. I think maybe a doubleheader of 2 7-inning games in one day. That way it's not that heavy on the players. And I actually like that idea. And I actually like the division, how it's set up, because it's almost like you're getting an interleague action right there. You're seeing your Dodgers Angels action there. According to the one that I saw, you'll see like the Yankees take on some of those East Coast National League teams, and I actually like what it looks like right now. What they have planned.
I have the divisions. I have them in front of me. If you want to see them, I can talk about them quickly. Okay, so the East is Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Nationals, the Royals, Phillies, Pirates, Braves, the Marlins. Central is Cubs, White Sox, Brewers, Cardinals, Royals, Reds, Indians, Twins, Braves, Tigers, and West is Dodgers, Angels, Giants, Athletics, Padres, D-backs, Rockies, Rangers, Astros, Mariners. Let me tell you something, Alex. I was talking to Bobby about this, and I really just thought something. I would love to see this format for the strict purpose of Dodgers, Astros.
Yes, I agree.
We want those games.
Yes, we do. We want them. We agree 100% on that. Dodgers, Astros. Can't wait to see
If
that.
we can't play it, you better be able to.
And please take care of business.
I'm just going to say, fellas, can you imagine the Dodgers doing a giveaway, maybe like a trash can banging giveaway? First, maybe 30,000 fans in attendance will be receiving banging trash cans. I think that'd be pretty funny in my
Oh, my God.
That's funny.
If they let fans back in the stadium, they have to.
I think that has to be a must, but you know what, now that you guys really pointed out, I think that's going to be great. That's going to be a 2017 World Series rematch right there, and I think this is going to be a proper World Series matchup, just like just let's do it again type of matchup, and let's do it without the technology, without any trash cans in the dugout, without any of that. Let's have a fair 3-game series. Let's go out guns blazing, and let's see who's really the real team to beat here.
Yeah, I'm totally about it. That's what me and Bobby want too. We just want pure baseball without any of the bullshit technology.
I agree. We just want baseball back. Period.
We just love ball.
We just want to see baseball. We miss it. We miss being at the stadium. We miss watching it. The thrill. We just miss everything. Only thing I will say this is the Yankees were dealing with injuries. I think once we get back, that Yankees will be at full strength. So we're definitely happy about that. But like we said, we want baseball back right away. I know you, Alex. I know you agree as well. Let's get it all back, and let's get it. It makes me excited even talking about it to get baseball back.
Yeah, me too. I'm like itching right now just thinking about it.
No, go ahead, Jules. I'm sorry.
No, what were you saying?
I was saying I'm getting withdrawals not being able to watch sports.
Oh, me too. It sucks. Like at the stadium right now, the games. Like we were going to be at the game yesterday. Me and Bobby were talking about that. Yankees Tigers. I was going to be opening day for Cole's first start, and then through the previews, recaps, and everything. Like my broadcast, still just like getting so excited ready for the season. I was just shot back down. Now I'm like trying to build myself back up because like I really believe this could be a season. It's just a matter of putting it together.
Right. I agree.
I definitely have to.
But the news.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, the news I have is that the major league teams are thinking about putting their spring training in their home ballparks. They don't waste the time to travel. So, like, if they say we can play again, just have them train in their own stadium and then just start again. And they're also thinking about having them play in their own stadium too, and not doing like the neutral site bubbles like Texas, Arizona, what was the other one? Florida. There we go. Or California, whatever else. But so that's some stuff to watch out for. I just saw that in USA Today within the last hour.
Definitely. If we do have that proposal going through, just like Julian said, we should expect games going on in Florida, Texas, and or Arizona. And of course, I also liked that spring training idea. I mean, even before this COVID-19 pandemic was going on, it looked like all 30 major league teams, they were 2 weeks away from opening day. So all the batters were getting their timing. Pitchers' arms were looking lively. Everyone was already looking great and ready to go there. So I think maybe a 2 weeks worth of maybe a spring training at their home ballpark to allow pitchers doing inter squad pitchers pitching against their own teammates and such. Allow the batters to get their timing, and of course reawakening the pitchers' arms again. So I think that's a great idea.
So you think 2 weeks is enough time? That was a big question I had. Like, how long do you think they're actually going to do it? Because to me, it's going to be at least 3 weeks once they start with training until we see a season. And they also said it might take a week to get them to report. But if they do this thing with the old stadium, they can cut away all the reporting time, and they can just get right to it, hopefully. So I would hope that it's 3 weeks from when they start spring training, whatever it is. You guys think that so they could actually have their first game?
I like the 2 week mark. I feel like that gives enough time for the players. I mean, condition work, that I feel like the players are already doing their own conditioning work. I mean, they're at home. I mean, I've been watching a lot of Dodgers at Spectrum with a lot of home updates. They've been bringing players in. A lot of players have been talking about condition work. Justin Turner, he bought his own bike that he's been using, and he's been working a lot in condition work. And of course, Walker Buehler still keeping that arm alive. And I think everyone else in Major League Baseball is doing the same.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm concerned with the pitchers. I'm not the position players. I think should almost go right now. I'm concerned with the pitchers, building back the arms and the injuries. Becoming I think everyone's been able to throw properly. Have no coach for pitching. I know they're throwing in the yard, but I'm sure they have resources, and I'm sure now that they've all been pitching. So it'll be interesting to see how their arms look again when we see them again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with the between 2 to 3 week window, and in my opinion, I think around between July 1st and July 4th, I think when we could get back to baseball, I think that would be enough time. I love that idea of having spring training in their home stadium. I love that. I absolutely love it.
Make sure to stay up to date with everything on sports. You can always follow me on Twitter. That is at AlexJNaveja. And of course, you guys can always follow Julian Guilarte along with Bobby Thompson. I'll make sure to put all of their social media handles down in the description below. And of course, if you want to know everything about as far as NFL, baseball, make sure to give their YouTube channel a subscription. Make sure to hit the subscription button on their channel along with Sideline Sports Podcast. I'm going to make sure to put all of it down in the description below. Of course, gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. We loved it. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Alex, thanks so much for having us. We could definitely do this again sometime. Maybe we'll have you on our show as well. We're just going to figure
Absolutely.
out with our baseball schedule, because it's a little more spread out. Like, we're kind of just going now. Things are happening. It's like one. Thanks so much, bro. It's been great.
Thank you so much, bro.
Definitely, guys. And I look forward to coming on you guys' podcast. And of course, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. And this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Lean Mean Meals. Make sure you get your meal prep done with Mitch Dominguez today. He has you with your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. He also has detox juices along with cold brew coffee. Make sure to use my promo code SIDELINE10 to save yourself 10% off on all of your orders. I'll put his link to the website and my promo code down in the description below. And if you guys enjoyed this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast, please give this video a thumbs up. It really does help me out to be able to bring guests like Julian and Bobby into the podcast. And of course, what will help me even more, hit the subscribe button to not only to my podcast, but also to the fellas podcast. That is G&T Talk Podcast on YouTube. You guys can also catch all of that on their social media handles. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Have a good one. And of course, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. Have a good one.